hating on you with their friends, girl, you got it.
Hey Slay Babes, so today I don't have a freestyle for y'all. This is an inspo look I got from Jerry the Worst. So let's hop right into it. We're going to start off by blocking the brows because we're going to do bling brows later on. So I'm going to take my Elmer's glue and I'm going to do about 5 layers of this, but I only show 1 layer. I'm going to go over with the glue and then I'm going to go through with a spoolie and just make sure all the hairs are flat in her eyebrows. After I brush through the eyebrows the first time, I'm just going to go through with my Elmer's glue again, and then I'm going to do this same process over. After about 3 layers of that, I'm going to go through and set it with my Dermablend translucent powder. If you don't have Dermablend, any translucent powder will work. Just make sure it's a white base instead of like that tan Laura Mercier color. I'm going to do this a couple more times just to make sure her eyebrows are completely flat. If you have a client or a model whose eyebrows are too dark, you want to make sure that you use a orange eyeshadow in one of these layers instead of the translucent powder, so that way you can counteract the color of the eyebrow hairs. Now, I've never blocked out eyebrows with my model, so this was the first time I was really doing this with her. So I decided to take her foundation color at first and put it over her eyebrows. But as y'all can see, it was way too dark. So then I decided to go through with a lighter foundation, and the lighter foundation was still too dark. As y'all can see, it was still too dark. So I decided to go over with her concealer on top of that, and then it gave me the perfect color. I probably could have gone a little bit lighter, but it was okay the way I had it. So after I covered it up, I just went through my triangle sponge and I just patted over the concealer and the foundation to blend it out. Now I'm going to take this Real Technique dupe brush and I'm just going to pat over that concealer to blend out her base. I could have used my triangle powder puff to do this as well, but I like to do this with a brush. Then I went through with what I believe to be the shade Vanilla, and I just added that on top because I wanted her eyeshadow base to be a little bit lighter than what it was. And I'm going to go through and just blend this out with that same brush. After those eyes are completely blended out, I just take my powder puff and I go over it with my Dermablend translucent powder, and I just set her eyes and I go over her eyebrows with the same powder. Setting your eyes with powder will have your eyeshadow blending seamlessly instead of having it patchy and having you trying to blend it together later on. Sometimes when I do my brighter color looks, I don't set it because I want all of the pigment I can get. But we're doing a neutral color today, so we're going to set our eyebrows and our lids. Now, I know everybody does not do this, but I like to take the contour shade I'm going to take later on when I do her face, and I'm just going to go through and blend this color where her eyebrows will be and down the bridge of her nose where I would do her contour. If I'm not mistaken, this is the Juvia's Place bronzing palette in tan or medium, whichever one is the darker of the two. Today's entire eyeshadow look is going to be using this palette from Sugar Baby Cosmetics, and these are the eyeshadows we used. I'm going to start off with that medium brown color, and I'm going to use this as her transition shade. You want to make sure you have separate brushes for each of these colors. So I'm starting out with a less dense, more fluffy brush on the first eyeshadow because I want it to be so blown out and completely blended. You won't have to do a lot of blending with this brush. As you can see, as I'm putting it on, it's just blending itself out. I'm making sure I take this all the way into the corner of her eye. I make sure I strategically place my eyeshadows on the eye in the way I'm going to do her cut crease later on. So make sure when you're putting these colors, you're only putting it in the shape you're going to do the cut crease later on. Next, I'm going to grab my Real Technique brush, and I'm going to use that medium brown from the palette, and I'm going to stay in that shape that I had before. You want to take a smaller brush so that way it doesn't blend as far up as that first brush did. The first brush was a little bit more fluffier. You want this one to be smaller and a little bit more dense. Now when I put this shade, I'm making sure I go all the way to the front of her eyelid and all the way to the back corner. I'm going to make sure I do this so that way there's eyeshadow in the front. It'll make the cut crease pop out a lot more. Okay, I'm sorry y'all, I don't know where the clip is of me actually putting this color on her eyes went, but I did the darker color in the palette, and as y'all can see, I still stayed in the shape that I'm going to do her cut crease later on. So you just want to make sure you take your time blending this out because I don't want to put too much of this color, but I want just enough that it's going to make that cut crease pop out. And I'm still blending it to the front of her eye because that's where we're going to start our cut crease, so we want eyeshadow up there as well. I cleaned up her cut crease with some Vaseline and some Q-tips, and then I'm gonna go in with this brush I got from Shein. This is a pack of 5 like nail art brushes, but I like to use this to cut my crease because it just gets it super sharp. And I'm gonna use my Too Faced concealer in the shade Cloud. I always use this as my eyeshadow base. It just gets the perfect white shade for me. So as you can see, I really love to use these brushes because it gives you a good crisp line. I also use this for just like graphic liner and stuff like that as well, but I love to cut creases with this. Using a concealer brush just doesn't work for me. I just like to do one clean swipe all the way across and then use my concealer brush to swipe down a little bit from that line so I can blend it out. After I get the complete shape that I want, I'm going to go in with a Real Technique Dew Brush, and I'm going to use that to take the Cloud Concealer and just pat that over the lid, so smooth it over and used as my eyeshadow base. When that's completely blended out, I'm going to take the top color, the lightest color I used, and I'm going to take this flat brush. I've had this brush forever, y'all, so don't talk about my brush. But I love to use this brush to pack on any matte colors because, you know, every brush can't really pack on a matte color. And this gets it really sharp against the cut crease for me. So I just use that and I take it about halfway up this white shade that we have on here as a base. For our second lid color, I'm going to take a tan peach color and I'm just going to tap this on with a flat shader brush. This is sort of like a fluffy flat brush. And I'm just going to pack that on, blending that into that lighter color. For our last lid color, we're going to add that brown, which is actually the first brown I used as her transition shade. And I'm just going to pack that on and then blend that into that tan color. I'm going to do this on the left side and then I'm going to do it to the right. To get this completely blended, you can go back and forth between this brown and that color we used in the middle to just make sure you get a seamless blend. Next, I'm going to go in with this actual eyebrow pencil, eyebrow brush, and some Inglot gel liner, and I'm just going to stamp out where I want the liner to be, and then I'm going to go through and fill it in. After I filled it in, I just went through with that darkest brown on the edges of that eyeliner so it can blend into the eyeshadow just a little bit. When I first started using Inglot gel liner, I was trying to use it with a thin eyeliner brush, but I found that using this eyebrow brush just works better for me because I can stamp it on instead of gliding it. If you guys have a better way of doing this eyeliner, please let me know in the comment because I'd love to try it. After I got everything blended how I wanted to, I decided to add rhinestones in the front and in the back. So we're just going to do 3 dots like these triangles, and I'm going to do it right in the front of her eye and over on the corner. And then I'm going to take some rhinestones I got from Amazon, and I'm just going to place those exactly where I put that duo lash glue. And boom, see, the rhinestones look gorgeous. So now we're going to get started on our face, and as y'all know, I skin prepped off camera. I used Amberlee's moisturizer and the e.l.f. Power Grip for some primer, and then I always like to finish the face off with some Mario Badescu spray, and then I pat that in with my hand. For foundation, I'm taking the NARS, of course, Macao mixed with Tahoe, just a little bit of Tahoe because Macao is really her color, but I like to mix a little bit of Tahoe in there. It just looks good when I blend it out. After I placed my foundation where I wanted, I went through and take this brush I got from Shein. I've fallen in love with these brushes. They are amazing. They blend out seamlessly. I use them for contour, highlighter, and foundation. So I'm just going to go through and pat this foundation all around her face, making sure I get underneath her chin, and I blend my foundation up over the temples and around the ear a little bit. So make sure you guys blend that all the way. Then I'm going to take this contour, and I actually use my Too Faced concealer for contour, and if I'm not mistaken, this is Spiced Rum. So because I have the rhinestones on her face, today I'm not taking the nose contour all the way up. As you can see, I sort of stopped right here, and then we're going to blend up towards the eyebrow. It just had me have a little bit more control on where the product goes, so I don't have to go through and clean the rhinestones off after. For liquid blush, I'm going to use this Rare Beauty liquid blush. I've loved theirs and the Juvia's Place ones. Those are some of my favorite, and I'm just going to place this over the contour. Taking another Real Technique dupe brush, y'all know how I love Shein's Real Technique brushes. Like, come on now. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pat over the contour and the blush at the same time. I'm going to have her look up so that way I can blend the blush underneath her eyes. Now time for one of my favorite parts, blending out the forehead contour. I don't know, blending out forehead contour is just so beautiful to me. Having a nice bronzed forehead, Who doesn't love a nice bronze forehead? And at this point, y'all, when I tell y'all I was cracking up every time I step back and look at her like, Shawty, you really ain't got no eyebrows on your face right now. Now we're going to take another Real Technique dupe brush. I swear to y'all, one day I will do a video. I'm just going to go up and down her nose before I do her contour so that way it can give like a natural blend when I do the contour. Now remember, we didn't place that contour shade all the way up her nose. I'm just going to slowly blend it up until where I would place her eyebrows, because you still want that blend up until where her eyebrows would be. I applied a brightening concealer right underneath her eyes, and now we're going to go through and blend that out with a powder puff. I like to start in the corner of the eye and just blend out towards the outside, and then I like to go through and make sure I get the outer corner of the eye, because sometimes I can miss the outer corner, and I like to make sure I don't miss the outer corner. But I like to use a powder puff to do the inner corner of her eyes, because it gets in that corner really easily without irritating her eyeballs, which will cause her eyes to water less. When you're doing your face routine, don't be scared to go back and forth between brushes. I go back and forth between my contour brush and my foundation brush and my powder puff all the time, just to make sure everything is blended. Like, as you can see, that little part on the nose that wasn't blended, I took that contour brush and just went over that contour, and it blended out perfect. Next, I'm going to have her look up to the ceiling, and I'm going to take that same powder puff and I'm just going to set under her eyes with my Huda powder and to say banana bread. If I'm not mistaken, it could be banana bread or the lighter color right in front of banana bread, but it's one of the two. And y'all, I just love this powder. Can you see how it just sets her face compared to the left side of her face? After I finish setting her under eye, I take Kanafu and I'm gonna bake her nose, and I'm gonna set her forehead, set above her lip, and set her chin with this same color. It's a different color, slightly more yellow than the color I used under her eyes. I wanted her under eye to be quite bright, so I used a brighter color to set her under eye. Now it's time to contour her face, and I'm going to start with her nose. I'm going to take my KKAO Beauty palette. Y'all know the complexion palette. Mwah, chef's kiss. I use it on every single client. So I'm going to take this color and I'm going to contour her nose. I'm also going to contour her forehead and her cheeks with this same color. If I'm not mistaken, this is like the third row over, the second color down. Yeah, the second or the third color down. After I fill in her nose contour, y'all know I like to bake. I start with baking before I do my bronzer because I just think it blends out the outer side a little bit better. But I'm going to take this color right up against her nose, and I'm going to reverse contour underneath her nose. And I'm going to take this powder right underneath her eye line, so that way I can get that brightness all the way up. Now, of course, we're going to contour and bronze her face. I already told y'all the color I took for the contour. I do three things. I do contour, and then I do bronzer, and then I do blush. So I do the contour palette from KKAO, and I think I took Pacific Peach, if I'm not mistaken, as her bronzer today. And then I took my Ariel K blush palette. Y'all know I'm in love with that blush palette, but I took that blush palette and I used that for blush for her today. And as y'all can see, by the time I'm done doing blush, most of that baking underneath her eyes is sort of blended away, and most of it still just stays right underneath her nose. Now we're going to set underneath her cheekbones, and I'm going to reverse contour with that same Dermablend setting powder. This is the same powder we use to set her eyes, the same powder we use to bake, the same powder we're going to use to set her face. I just love this way more better than the one size. I don't know, the one size is just kind of iffy for me, but this works every time. For her under eye, I wanted to keep it really simple, so I'm just grabbing that first brown color I used on her eyelid, that same shade I used as the transition shade, and I'm just going to have her look up, and I'm going to get really close to her eye with this smudger brush, and I'm just going to pack on the color and blend it out. For her waterline, I used Inglot gel liner, and I just used a little bit because I didn't want that black to be smoked out. I just let that set under her eyes, and then I did her face routine. Now for brows today, we're going to do bling brows. So we already blocked out her brows. I'm just going to draw a straight line where like those 20s eyebrows like that. I just do a straight line with my Duo Lash Glue, the one in the green and white bottle. Of course, that's a staple. And I'm just going to put this on and let it dry a little bit. As y'all can see, it dries clear pretty quickly. And then I'm going to take this tool that came along with my rhinestones from Amazon, and I'm just going to put these same rhinestones I used on her eye, but in a bigger shape. These are the largest shape that come in the pack. And I'm just going to put that on exactly where I put that line on her eyebrows. The good thing about doing this ahead of time is you can see exactly where you're going to put the rhinestones, so you don't have to worry about messing up. Now it's time to do our lash prep. So we're going to start by doing some Better Than Sex mascara, and I like to do my bottom lashes first and then my top, so that way if I do the top first, that the black residue won't transfer to her eyelid. So I always start with the bottom lashes first. I already had prepped her lashes off camera, so now I'm just going to put the lashes on her eyes. Y'all know I like to start from the outer corner and then place it on the inner corner for a perfect set. And I always have my clients and my models look down instead of closing her eyes. So y'all can see her eyes are not closed. Her eyes are just looking down to the ground. This is perfect for just seeing that lash line, her natural lash line, so you can sit the lashes right on it. You know how you put the lashes on and then they look straight and then they're not all the way down to the lash line? This will keep that from happening, I promise you. For lip liner, I'm using brown from the Ariel K collection. I've fallen in love with this lip liner. I can literally use it on every complexion. I can use it on this model, I can use it on me, I can use it on someone white, or I can use it on someone that is super dark. It is very diverse, and I highly recommend all of y'all go get it. Now, the best advice I can give y'all on doing lip liner for the bottom is to have your clients tuck their lips in or press their lips down together, so that way you can see the line on their bottom lip. And then after I line that lip, this lip liner is really smooth, so it makes this really easy to do. I just go in and fill in the corners so I can get some ombre effect going in the corners. So I decided to blend out that lip liner with another lip liner. This is actually one of my favorites. This is a drugstore lip liner from Milani in the shade Saucy Toffee, and I usually use this on her instead of the Ariel K, but I really like the way it came out. So after I put this lip liner on, of course, I just went through with a disposable lip pencil and I just blended that lip liner out. After I blended out that lip liner, I went in with one of my favorite lipsticks. This is from Crown Beauty. They actually do not sell this shade anymore, but I put this on her lips and I just had her pat her lips together. She knows exactly what to do by now, but this is naturally blends your lipstick out into your lip liner perfectly alone by itself. And my phone case has a mirror on it. That's why she was looking directly into the camera. I know it looks kind of odd, but she was looking at herself. So I take that and I just blend out any edges if I need to. And I decided to go over, which is like the same thing I always do. I take a clear lip gloss and I go over the lip liner. And then I take a color lip gloss and I go over the lipstick. I took the color lip gloss from the Ariel K Experience again, and I used it over that middle part because it's just like the perfect nude pink to go over that lipstick. Now that we're almost towards the end of the face, I'm just going to go through and just take this tapered brush and I'm going to dust off all the translucent powder all over her face. I like to take the cheek first and then do under her eyes and then do her nose, but it really doesn't matter the order you do this part in. Just make sure you have them look all the way up and make sure you get all of the translucent powder off of the face. I'm also not just like dusting it off the face. I'm kind of like pressing in at the same time, which is why my brush is going in circular motions kind of, because I'm pressing and dusting at the same time. So sometimes when blending that bake away, you can blend away some of the contour and the bronzer. So I just like to add a little bit of oomph back into her face by adding more bronzer and contour. I wanted to pop a little bit of white shadow into the corner of her eyes just so it can bring out the front part of her eye a little bit. So this is the white eyeshadow from the Juvia's Place palette. This is just the easiest thing for me to grab at the moment, but you can use any white. Now for the finishing touches, we're going to finish off her face with some Morphe spray. Y'all know I like to do 2 sets of setting spray. So we're going to do a setting spray and then we're going to pat in that setting spray into her face with our powder puff, because I think you need to press in that setting spray as well. Like, why aren't you doing it? Then I'm going to spray my Charlotte Tilbury, and because I'm doing my model job, I shouldn't even be spraying this spray. This spray is a little too expensive to just be spraying it out for no reason. But the finish it gives, like, you just can't beat it. So I had to. And then I go in with my Morphe spray again because I don't know why. I just have to. After I press all that spray in again, I'm just going to go in with my Juvia's Place highlighter on the tip of her nose, the bridge of her nose, and in the middle of her forehead, which in this case is the middle of the rhinestone brows. And y'all know, just like that, we are done. The look came out completely flawless. I hope you guys like this tutorial. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all my social medias at I am Shanti Slays. Bye, y'all.